We originally set out to make one video, covering all of the various Aliens and Predator crossovers with other licenses, but it turned into two. As the initial Batman vs. Predator series was special enough, we felt like it needed its own video, its own spotlight. So you may want to go back and watch that video first if you haven't already. Hey everybody, this is Ryan from the future. So you know how I was just saying about how this was going to be the second video and we split it up into two? Well, actually what you're watching is going to be the first of 3 videos. We had way too much footage. It would have been like 45 minutes long. So I just came in here from the future to let you know really quick so you weren't confused. And that's it. But before I go, social media, Patreon, you get the idea. Okay, back to the video and go. Disclaimer. We've tried to avoid the patented YouTube jump cut, but we have a lot of stuff to cover, so we're gonna make an exception. I mean, this is a really long video, and we don't have time to do perfect takes. Seriously, we have like 25 years worth of comics we're about to cover, and we're just gonna go safari right through them in chronological order. So think of it like a tour through 2.5 decades of comics. Like maybe on one of those long tram things you ride through the Universal backlot, and I'm the guy in the back with the intercom, trivia, and bad jokes. And folks, you're gonna wanna look to your right and get out your cameras because the next stop on our early 90s tour is another Predator crossover, this time with a character just as popular and as exciting as Batman. Magnus Robot Fighter. Huh? Seriously, Predator vs. Magnus Robot Fighter. 1992 by John Ostrander and Lee Weeks. So first of all, Magnus isn't a robot who fights, but a fighter of robots. He's a comic hero with a very specific thing he deals with. Magnus lives in a sprawling megalopolis that's grown dependent on robots. He was raised and trained by Sentient Robot 1A, because he's like the first one, I guess, to protect humans from rogue robots and deal with robotic shenanigans in general with his steel-slicing karate chops, red tunic, and white boots. How the hell did this kind of throwback character get matched up with Predator? Well, Magnus was created in the 60s, hence the tunic, and was dusted off in 1991 to help launch Valiant Comics, and going toe-to-toe with Predator is a good way to get attention for your new publishing line. The book itself is pretty good. Some future military dudes get into it with a group of Predators and win, thinking they killed them all. However, one of the soldiers took a souvenir from the Predator trophy room on their ship, and they unknowingly left one of the Predators alive. The surviving Predator follows the soldier back home to Earth to retrieve his trophy and causes a bunch of problems that Magnus needs to deal with. The world of Magnus in this series is sort of a cross between Blade Runner, Demolition Man, and the Jetsons. He lives in this huge urban sprawl with big skyscrapers, and it's colored all moody with shadows and neon. Everybody has robots, so everyone is pampered and decadent. But all those robots are very retro looking, and everyone gets around in pneumatic tubes, just like in Futurama. It's an interesting aesthetic, and this comic has piqued my interest. But these books are impossible to find. Help me, internet. The big draw here is the artwork by Lee Weeks. I was hooked in just the first 3 pages. This is how you open a comic. First page could be a cover unto itself. It communicates a lot with just one image. Our focus is drawn to this guy here, and he looks very retro sci-fi with his helmet, skin-tight uniform, and ray gun. The robot next to him looks very old school as well, but what is definitely not retro is the steaming, hollow helmet down there where somebody's face used to be. Now, we might assume that that was the work of Mr. Raygun, but he's freaking out about something he can't see with his back against the wall, and here comes Mr. Predator, colored white to signal transparency. In the background, we can see another body and billowing smoke, letting us know there was a battle, so we can assume this guy's the last man standing and not handling it too well. The violence displayed, juxtaposed with the retro imagery, telegraphs a meeting of 2 different brands of science fiction, and the next page capitalizes on this. Mr. Raygun can't see the Predator, but his robot sidekick's sensors tell him he's right behind him. So we get the retro sci-fi panel here, with the soldier squeezing off a ray gun blast like one does in retro sci-fi stories. Then we are treated to imagery we never see in retro sci-fi stories. Mr. Raygun knocked off his feet, guts flying out behind him as the Predator's death frisbee rips right through him. More kudos to Lee Weeks here for how much motion he conveys in this panel. And on the 3rd page, in case it wasn't clear, we are not in typical, safe retro sci-fi book. We're treated yet again to the kind of violent imagery we can expect from Predator stories. 3 pages, and I'm in. And now I'm more apt to read something with Weeks' name on it, and a little more interested in early 90s Valiant Comics. Predator vs. Tarzan. This is 1992 by Walter Simonson and Lee Weeks again. If you liked Lee Weeks before, you get more of it here, albeit with a completely different setting and color palette. Dark Horse had acquired the Tarzan license, so this was another excuse to flex the property, and I guess the connection here is that they both originated with jungle imagery, I guess? Tarzan and friends travel to a forgotten land rife with dinosaurs and sentient pterodactyls to rescue a comrade left behind in a Tarzan novel from 1930, and you know what? This is 100% entrenched in the Tarzan mythos. In fact, it's an unabashed sequel to the 13th Tarzan novel entitled At the Earth's Core. If that's not your thing, you'll find precious little to get excited by. But you might be surprised to discover that this kind of bizarre fantasy science fiction is part of the Tarzan universe. Like most people, when I think of Tarzan, I think of this. And this.
James, Tarzan, James, Tarzan.
But apparently there's a lot more to the world of Tarzan than the original Hollywood films gave credit for. Two guys that knew that were the writer and artist of this crossover. Lee Weeks delivers more great artwork, channeling his inner Frank Frazetta, one of the famous artists most associated with Tarzan. And the script is by Walter Simonson, who I know from interviews is a big fan of the pulp classics. I think it's clear that both of these guys looked at this as an opportunity to play in the Tarzan sandbox, as the Predator element seems incidental most of the time. However, you get to see Predators take down a T-Rex, and that's cool, and the action scenes between Tarzan and the Predators are well done. It's a fun, pulpy, well-drawn Tarzan story that happens to have Predators in it. If you've ever flirted with Tarzan, and if you've ever wondered what the pulp world of Tarzan is like, this is a good taste test. But if you want fuck all to do with Tarzan, you're probably going to want to skip this. Moving on. Batman vs. Predator 2 Blood Match. This is 1993 by Doug Munch and Paul Galassi. Alright, more Batman vs. Predator. It was a winning combination the first time around with its dark tone and moody atmosphere and gothic sensibilities, so probably more of that, right? Huh. That's different. That's very comic booky. Wait, I know what this is missing that'll make all of this make sense. There we go. Batman vs. Predator 2 has Predator in the title, and there are even more than one Predator in the book. But this comic does not give a fuck about feeling like a Predator book. It has way more in common with Kill Bill, actually, than it does with the Predator films. And if you take one look at the creative team, that makes sense. Doug Munch and Paul Galassi. This comic came out in 1993, but these guys' working relationship goes all the way back to 1974 with Shang-Chi, the master of Kung Fu. Certainly meant to cash in on the martial arts craze left in the wake of Bruce Lee, Munch and Galassi's work with Shang-Chi character is highly respected amongst comic book fans for its cinematic, philosophical, and introspective qualities. But also, it was a book about a globe-trotting Kung Fu secret agent, so hell yes? Anyway, Batman vs. Predator 2 has that flavor, and as long as you dial into that frequency, you'll find this is a fun, energetic, colorful read. The plot is essentially everyone is trying to kill Batman, including the Predator, but he gets some help from Huntress, who at the time was the vigilante Batman thinks takes things too far. There's not too much to say about the script other than it does a good job enabling Galassi to do his thing, giving him plenty of weird characters and action scenes to draw. Here's one of my favorites, and it's a good test to see if you're picking up what this comic book is laying down. Notice how cinematic this whole sequence is. Batman comes out of a manhole onto a deserted Gotham City street. It's quiet. Too quiet. Look, in the window, an assassin! Bat dive! Impeccably timed tire spike! No, it's not a tire spike, it's a bat javelin. Grenade assassin? Use the bat swat. And no more head for you, grenade assassin. And Batman says, faster! Is he taunting his assailants? Car assassin! Batman, what are you waiting for? Aha, bat grapnel, good choice. Grab the steering wheel, pull, and send the car on a collision course. And don't forget to turn away from the explosion in super cool bat slow-mo. Don't get comfortable yet, Batman. Trapdoor! But he's a quick draw with that grapnel gun. Wait, how can there be a trapdoor placed in the streets of Gotham? Of course! An elaborately staged training exercise to test Batman's responsiveness to multiple assassins. Brilliant, Batman, just brilliant. Anyway, this book is a blast in a cheesy way, but that's part of its charm. It's also a decent introduction to the work of Munch and Galassi, especially Galassi. It's not the best Predator story by a stretch, but it's a fun little funky Batman action book. Also, if you're interested, they've been reprinting all the Shang-Chi stuff lately, which I might do a video on down the line if I ever find time to read them all. Our next series is Superman vs. Aliens, and since we're finally talking about aliens, I can talk about this guy right here. This is a brand new xenomorph statue that was very kindly sent to us by Eagle Moss. Someone over there was an Alpha Rookie fan and reached out to see if we'd feature any of their merchandise, and I told them a lot of our viewers are Alien fans, so they sent us this bitchin' statue, which is gonna go straight onto my bookshelf right after we're finished recording this. They have a bunch of Alien and Predator movie statues yet to come. The thing that I'm most excited about is that hot pink Spacesuit Dallas statue. I'm not joking though, seriously, that thing looks sick. It is pink too. Okay, so back to the comic book. This one is Superman versus Aliens. It's 1995. This one's by Dan Jurgens and Kevin Nolan. I'm the Man of Steel. I'm not gonna kill you though because I have morals and shit. Right, so it's 1995. Superman is still sporting a mullet, and spurred by the hope he may find some fellow Kryptonians, he takes a spaceship to a remote base far away from the yellow sun that gives him his powers. There, he discovers some not quite Kryptonians and a not quite Supergirl, and a bunch of xenomorphs. Stranded, losing his power with every passing minute, bagged down with a no-killing policy, and in desperate need of a change of clothes, Superman vs. Aliens is a Superman survival horror story that is totally decent. The series was written and drawn by Dan Jurgens, famous for killing off Superman a few years prior, but it's inked by Kevin Nolan, which really goes to show how much the inker can define the look of a book. Jurgens is obviously a Superman guy, and so it follows that Supes gets top billing here. Jurgens used the crossover as an opportunity to test the limits of Superman's physical and philosophical makeup. If you're not into Superman at all, you're probably going to find his unwillingness to kill xenomorphs pretty annoying. But if you get what Superman is about, seeing him deal with the gradual diminishing of his power set, completely isolated against a ruthless enemy, and on top of that, trying to keep his code of valuing all life, it can be pretty compelling. But seriously, Superman, no one gives a shit about killing xenomorphs. Oh wait, don't step on that cockroach! Let me pick it up and put it outside! That's not to say the xenomorphs are a footnote. The lonely and remote nature of the setting evokes the Aliens films nicely. The gung-ho Kara character stands in for Ripley, and the ferocity of the xenomorphs is conveyed really well. Even when Superman first encounters a creature at his most powerful, he's taken off guard by how ferocious it is. It's like a murderous house cat. It has claws and teeth that hurt like a son of a bitch, but it can't kill you. If the series suffers from anything, it's held back by the lowest subplot and all the Superman continuity. As I said, Jurgens does a good job creating a desperate and isolated atmosphere, but that immersion is broken every time we cut away to the other plot. Cut the fat. There are also these pretty gnarly information dumps as well that are kinda lazy and dive into Superman's continuity more than is necessary. Check this one out if you're a Superman fan, or an Aliens fan that's at least open to the weakened Superman concept. All right, everybody, that was the end of part 1. Join us for part 2, where we'll go over another big block of crossovers. And don't forget, social media, Patreon. There's a thing right here over my shoulder that you can click, and it'll take you right to our Patreon page. Even if you're on a cell phone. Are you looking at me on your cell phone right now? Are you by yourself, or are there people around you? Are you like riding on the subway somewhere? Is there somebody next to you? Hi! Hi, this is Alpha Rookie. We do really stupid stuff like I'm doing right now. Check us out. You should tell him. Tell him to check us out. Hey, is he still watching? What's he doing? What about on this side? Hey, you! How's that sandwich? You look kind of bored eating that sandwich. Have you thought about watching something while you eat a sandwich? Push the button. Do it.